Stop. Please welcome Dr. Nabiul. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Waqul ja'al haqq wa zaqil batil innal batil kana zuqa. I welcome all of you with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected all Islamic scholars and dear students of Madrasa, the Islamic school. I am very glad to know that student of Madrasa will get no modern education as well. Thanks to Mufti Sahab. Every alim, hafiz, mufti course, whatever you did, add some years to it or make it compulsory side by side. Like they should know how the World Banks run, what is UNO, WHO, UNESCO, what are NATO forces. Our Prophet was aware about all political situations of world, my dear friend. He used to give khutbah at every Jummah about all political situation of the world. Today's topic is terrorism is pool of mainly politicians, not any religion. No, it is not. The topic is terrorism is pool of mainly politicians, not any religion. Word terrorism. When you see the Oxford Dictionary, what does this word terrorism means? Terrorism means use of violent actions in order to achieve political aims or to force a government to act. This word terrorism was first coined in 1970s during French Revolution. And years 1793 and 1794, these 2 years are known as reign of terror, years of terror. Maximilian Robespierre, remember this name, Maximilian Robespierre. During this time, when there was a year of terror, during this time, he killed thousands of innocent pupils, arrested more than 50,000 of human beings, out of which 40,000 were executed, 200,000 deported, and more than 200,000 are starved to death. Maximilian Robespierre. Today, a very famous statement is present in international media that all Muslims are not terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. This is very important statement which is being repeated again and again. Even in India, people are repeating this statement that all Muslims are not terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. In India, in our great country, India, whenever media says any terror attack, any terrorist attack, it always talk about Kashmiri militants or Muslim terrorists. I am not defending any Kashmiri militants here. Please, let us analyze today what the historical record says, not only of India, but of whole world. In 19th century, there was hardly any terror attack by Muslims in 19th century. Let's see, in 1881, Sir Alexander II of Russia was killed. He was traveling in bulletproof carriage. He was killed by Ignacy, a non-Muslim. He was not a Muslim. He was an anarchist. In 1886, bomb blast in Chicago during a labor rally. 20 innocent pupils were killed. One among them was policeman, and 7 policemen injured, and later they died in a hospital. People responsible were 8 anarchists. They were not Muslims, they were non-Muslims, my dear friend. Now see the records of 20th century. When you see the records of 20th century, first, 6 September 1901, US President Nillian McCallany was shot by anarchist Leon. He was not Muslim, he was a non-Muslim. 1st October 1910, bomb blast at Los Angeles Times newspaper building. 21 innocent pupils were killed. People responsible were 2 Christians, James and Joseph. They were not Muslims, they were non-Muslims. 28 June 1940, my dear friend, in France, Archduke of Austria and his wife were assassinated. That point that preceded the World War One. People responsible were called Young Bosnia. They were not Muslims, they were non-Muslims, my dear friend. When you see the records of 16 April 1925 bomb blast in church at capital of Bulgaria, greater than 100 innocent pupils killed and greater than 500 injured. It was the biggest terror attack that has taken place on soil of Bulgaria, conducted by Bulgarian Communist Party. They were not Muslims, they were non-Muslims, my dear friend. When you see 9th October 1934, King Alexander I of Yugoslavia was assassinated by Lord Georgiev. He was not a Muslim, he was non-Muslim, my dear friend. First US plan to be hijacked was not done by Muslims, was done by Ramirez Ortiz. He was non-Muslim. In 1968, the US ambassador to Guatemala was killed by a non-Muslim. The US ambassador to Japan was killed by a Japanese. He was a non-Muslim. In 1969, US ambassador to Brazil was kidnapped by non-Muslim. In 1995, bombing federal building Oklahoma City, truck was loaded with a bomb in which 166 innocent pupils got killed and hundreds were injured. First, the blame was made that Middle East conspiracy for several days. Later, it was found that the two Christians were responsible, Timothy and Terry. After World War II, 1941 to 1948, in span of 8 years, 259 terrorist attacks were conducted by Jewish terrorists. Many organizations like Ignan, Sterngun, Hagna, famous bombing of King David Hotel which took place 22nd July 1946, conducted by Ignan under leadership of Menachem Begin, in which 91 people got killed. 28 were Britishers, 41 were Arabs, 17 were Jews and 50 others. The Ignan group was dressed up like Arabs to show as Muslims had done it. This was biggest terror attack against history of British mandate, my dear friend. At that time, Menachem Begin was called terrorist number 1 by British government. Later on, after a few years, he became the Prime Minister of Israel. Later on, after a few years, he got Nobel Prize for Peace. Imagine the person who has killed thousands of innocent pupils was declared terrorist number 1 by Britishers, and he was getting the Nobel Prize for Peace. All the leader of Jewish terrorist group like Ignan, Sterngun, Hagna, all later became Prime Minister of Israel. If you see world map, my dear friend, if you see world map, before 1945, Israel didn't even exist. These Jewish groups were called terrorists by Britishers. They fought for Jewish land, but didn't get from Britishers. Later on, they were welcomed by Palestinians to stay there for few time. They welcomed them as cousins, but later on they grab the land, they turn it into Israel. No, they are killing Palestinians. Just like, my dear friend, just like somebody come to your home as guest, then he takes your whole house. When you knock at door just to give me my house back, people are calling you terrorist. Nowadays, Palestinians are labeled as terrorists by Israel. Imagine Hitler killed 6 million Jews, kicked Jewish community out. Palestinians welcome them. No, they should go back to Germany, back to Europe. But all the so-called powerful countries of world, they are today agreeing for this unjust cause. In Germany in 1968 to 1992, Babder Mannhof gang killed several innocent pupils, my dear friend. When you come to Italy, in Italy, Red Brigades killed several innocent pupils, also responsible for kidnapping and killing of Aldo Moro, the Prime Minister of Italy. In Japan, 1995, Om Shinrikyo, a Buddhist cult, used nerve gas in Tokyo, tried to kill so many innocent people. But unfortunately, they were not successful, were only able to kill 12 pupils, and but greater than 5,000 were injured. They were not Muslims, they were non-Muslims. In UK, my dear friend, in UK for greater than 100 years, IRA, Irish Republic Army, is doing terrorist attack. They are Catholics, they are not Muslims. In 1972, IRA did 3 bomb blasts, killed many innocent pupils. In 1974, 2 bomb blasts, killed many innocent pupils. In 1996, bomb blast in London. Further in the same year, bomb blast in shopping area of Manchester. Hundreds of pupils were killed. In 1998, if you see, Banbridge bomb blast, 500 pounded bomb was loaded in car, in which 29 killed and 330 injured. And my dear friend, all these records are from non-Muslim sources. They are not written by Muslims. You can go to internet, you can cross-check it. In 2001, BBC was burned by IRA. IRA is the biggest threat to UK government. Today UK government is more afraid of Muslim terrorists. I don't know why. It's, I think, because they are inspired by George Bush, the terrorist number 1. In 2005 attack done in UK, they are suspected to be Muslims, not confirmed. The attack of 2005 was suspected to be, in which more than 50 people are killed. But if we do comparison, IRA will put shame on this Muslim terrorist, because they have done multiple times more attack and killed multiple times more people than Muslim terrorists. In Spain and France, there are terrorist organizations like ETA. They have done 36 terrorist attacks, my dear friend. They are not Muslims, they are non-Muslims. In Africa, there are so many terrorist organizations. List is very big, my dear friend. But one which is most notorious is Lord Salvation Army, Christian terrorist organization in Uganda. They train young children to commit terrorist attacks. Imagine, in Africa. When you come to in Sri Lanka, there are LTTE Tamil Tigers, most notorious, most violent terrorist organization of the world. Expert in suicide bombing. They trained young children in suicide bombing. Normally media says Muslim do suicide bombing, but most famous in it are LTTE Tamil Tigers. They are Hindus, they are not Muslim, my dear friends. After World War II, 1940, when we do survey of people that have killed maximum number of human beings, we come to know that still Muslims are very least, even nowhere comparable. Imagine, Hitler had killed 6 million Jews. He was not Muslim, he was Christian. If you count total people killed in World War II, number is very big, my dear friend. It comes near about 60 million. If you see Joseph Stalin, the Uncle Jew, killed 20 million pupils, 14.5 million were starved to death. Imagine, he was not Muslim, Joseph Stalin, he was non-Muslim. In China, Mo Si-sung killed 14 to 15 million pupils, my dear friend. He was not a Muslim, he was non-Muslim. Mussolini in Italy alone, he had killed 400,000 human beings, my dear friend. Maximilian Robespierre during French Revolution starved and tortured to death 200,000 pupils and executed 40,000 people, my dear friend. If you see Ashoka in one battle alone, in Kalinga battle, killed more than 100,000 people. He was a Hindu, my dear friend, he was not terrorist. We, no doubt, we have our own black sheep also, like Saddam Hussein, killed few 100,000 people, but embargo put by George Bush that he had killed 500,000 Christians. In Indonesia also, Muhammad Suharto killed 500,000 pupils. But this is nothing comparable to Hitler, Uncle Joe, Mo Si-sung, Mussolini, Ashoka. Imagine, each individual put all the Muslims together to shame. I am not saying these people are practicing their religion, because all religion condemns killing of innocent human beings. Yet in international media, Muslims are being targeted. They are called fundamentalist, extremist, terrorist, because all media is inspired by George Bush today, the terrorist number one. We know many times two different labels are given to same individuals for same work, for same activity. For example, greater than 70 years back, when India was ruled by British government, there were many freedom fighters were fighting. Britishers called them terrorists. When you see Britishers came to India to do business, they have no right to rule us. So these terrorists for British are freedom fighters for us. Similar Bhagat Singh, Subhash Chandra Bose, Chandrasekhar Azad. They were called terrorists by British governments, but we Indian call them as freedom fighters. Person, same work, but two different labels. For example, American Revolution took place in 19th century. In 1875, many Americans were fighting for freedom. Britishers are ruling over America, and these Americans were called terrorists by Britishers, but America called them as imagine that time these Americans were called terrorists by Britishers. During American Revolution, according to British government, terrorist number one were Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. George Washington later on became president of USA and godfather to all president of USA, including George Bush, who was called terrorist number one by Britishers. Imagine, becomes the president of USA then. If you read Bible speaks about fighting. For example, Book of Numbers, Book of Exodus, chapter number 2, verse number 18 to 20. Book of Exodus, chapter number 32, verse number 27 to 28. Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, himself says in Gospel of Luke, chapter number 22, verse number 36. Take the sword, go and fight. After seeing all this, who has monopoly on terrorism, my dear friend? According to me, terrorism is the monopoly of politicians for their vote bank, irrespective of the politicians of UK, USA or India. If we want to abolish the terrorism, we have to find what is the cause of terrorism. According to me, the cause of terrorism is injustice. The cause of terrorism is injustice. I, being a doctor, we don't believe in symptomatic treatment. We find the cause, the germ, and kill it. Cause of terrorism is injustice. When wrong is done to a particular group of people, they retaliate. And that is the only cause. In UK, 21 Muslims were arrested. Their non-Muslim friends were saying, we know them. They can't be involved. At that time, Israel was attacking Libyans and killing thousands of people. No one was caring about it. Britishers had policy of divide and rule. We got freedom from Britishers, but unfortunately they had left the policy for politicians. Today politicians are using this policy of divide and rule for their vote bank. From records we come to know the country which has maximum rights. Can you imagine the country which has maximum rights? Is our India, and majority cause almost all, directly or indirectly, are politicians for their vote bank, power, money. Otherwise, generally a common Indian, whether he is Muslim or non-Muslim, they would love to live peacefully and harmoniously. Politicians engineered hatred among different religions to fill their vote bank. In our country, there is political game over Babri Masjid and Ram Janambhoomi issue in Ayodhya. Politicians had made it popular. On 6 December 1992, Supreme Court would have said easily that no gathering anywhere close to disputed area. Group of politicians started to gather and spontaneously Babri Masjid destroyed. Imagine with trishuls and lathi. It's not possible to destroy it. They have planted explosives and that's why the structures came down. Imagine, can structures come down with lathi and trishuls? Maybe George Bush saw this. That's why he conducted inside job of 9/11. Later on, throughout the country, there were riots. It was largest riot after partition of 1947, where tens of thousands of innocent human beings were killed, mainly Muslims. Innocent pupils were instigated by politicians to kill the people of other religion. For example, in Bombay, December 1992 and Jan 1992 riots, greater than 1,500 Muslims were killed, more people than partition. Police, if wanted, they could have easily prevented the riots, but they were controlled by politicians. Majority remained silent. Justice Shri Krishna, individually he visited 26 police stations, analyzed the records, spoke with all, and after all research he presented verdict that how we can prevent riots. We Muslims have faith on judiciary system of India. If politicians, police betray, we still have faith on judiciary system. If, my dear friend, if judiciary system also gets controlled by politicians, then God save this country. On 21 March 1993, series of 13 bomb blasts in Mumbai, in which greater than 250 people killed and greater than 700 injured. Justice Shri Krishna said it was retaliation of greater than 1,500 Muslims killed in riots of Mumbai by Muslim underworld. Even police commissioner agreed it was retaliation of Mumbai riots. But in Islam, two wrongs don't make right. Islam condemns this act also. No Muslim should be happy with this, where innocent human beings got killed. Imagine family of those will become enemy of Islam. If person who harms you, catch him, give him punishment, no problem. But innocent killing is haram, because he can become the, my dear friend, permanent enemy of Islam. Who is to blame? When we see sequence, prevention is better than care. If politicians don't have used Babri Masjid and Ram Janmabhoomi as issue, these bomb blasts wouldn't have took place. They could have easily prevent gathering and distraction. Number second, innocent Indians instigated against Muslims by politicians. Police could have prevent riots easily. People who committed bomb blasts, because this is not the right way. These all four categories are responsible. Stop the injustice, the root cause. Terrorism will be stopped. For example, Gujarat massacre in 2002, very famous, followed by the burning of a single coach of Sabarmati Express at Godavari on 26 Feb 2002, according to forensic report and evidences. Listen, my dear friend, according to forensic report and evidences, this train that was burnt, it says that coach was burnt. The forensic report says the coach was burnt from inside. They have several evidences for this. They say 59 people are killed, but yet it is to be doubted, because no details were shown. Few people may killed, many people thought to be killed, found alive later. So it was inside job of politicians because of all the evidences. So Babri Masjid was inside job, Godhra inside job, 9/11 inside job. On 27 Feb 2002, it was no retaliation but pre-planned. It was state-supervised massacre of innocent Muslims in Gujarat. Innocent citizens were given money to kill Muslims. According to Human Rights Commissions, approximately 2,500 persons were killed, mainly Muslims. Other reports says greater than 5,000 killed, greater than 1,000 raped, and greater than hundreds of thousands looted. Many are asked to leave their houses. Their place of businesses were burned. People killed in Gujarat massacre is more than, my dear friend, more than killed in 9/11. Loss of people of Gujarat, if you added, it is much more than loss of 9/11. But yet, according to George Bush, people who did Gujarat massacre are not terrorists. If you harm Americans, only then is problem. There are tons of evidences in booklets, literature, newspaper, videotapes, VCD, actual recording of culprits, yet no action were taken, my dear friend. I am sorry to say here, judiciary system in Gujarat fails because they are pressurized by politicians, so much so that the Supreme Court had passed a remark against High Court of Gujarat that verdict is wrong. Nothing happened in Gujarat. Imagine. Then after a couple of months, two Muslims were arrested. They attacked in temple and killed few people there. They may have logic for this, but Islam condemns it. They say our sister mother raped. We know the person responsible. Law doesn't support us, so we took law in hands. But Islam condemns it, my dear friend. If someone killed innocent Muslims, you in retaliation killing innocent Hindus, it's not in Islam, my dear friend. Two wrongs can't be right in Islam. If you can catch culprit, punish him, no problem. All religion give permission for this, but don't kill innocent ones. Then my dear friend, on 11th July 2006, series of bomb blast in train. 7 bomb blast in span of 11 minutes. Greater than 200 innocent killed and greater than 800 injured. Police and authorities said this too was retaliation for Gujarat massacre done by LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba. But again, this is to be condemned in Islam. If you see sequence, this bomb blast would have been prevented easily. For example, number 1, politicians planned for burning of coach. People at center were responsible. Innocent citizens instigated against Muslims. They were also responsible. Police remained silent. They were also responsible. And judiciary system failed here. I am sorry to say. Number 5, judiciary system also failed here. And number 6, people who retaliated in wrong way. If you had prevented first category, we would not have terrorist attacks. Then we know thousands of innocent of Muslims were interrogated by police without any reason for many time, weeks and days, family not informed. Police should take Muslims in confidence. Not a single arrest case was linked with blast, my dear friend. Once 2 senior ex-police officers were called to have talk on terrorism. One blamed Madrasa of Pakistan and other blamed Madrasa of India. Said they have computers, English, science, etc. One person in the audience said, I give you a piece of paper. Just tell me any madrasa in India, directly or indirectly, or remotely linked with terrorists. He replied, I don't know. To say that Madrasa of India is linked with terrorism is nothing but a blatant lie, my dear friend. What message are you sending? What signals are you giving? Imagine innocent Hindus become against Madrasa. What message are you giving? If you read Mahabharata, it has more verses of killing than Quran. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but just advice given to Arjuna to fight. If you read chapter number 1, verse 43, 44, 45, 40, and 46, chapter number 2, verse number 2, Arjuna says, how can I fight with my own cousins? Shri Krishna replied, how can you be so important, Arjuna? It is duty of Kshatriya to fight. I know it's truth against falsehood. That's why the Quran says that's what the Quran says. We have to understand different religions. If I pick verses of Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita out of context, surely we have rights here. Hundreds of Muslims were picked up and tortured. We have records. What signals are you sending? According to William Dalrymple of USA, he said, George Bush does not know about Islam. According to Julio Ribeiro, he wrote an article in Hindustan Times, more the unnecessary arrests that are made to get breakthrough becomes more difficult proportionally. Chances you get the culprit becomes more difficult, my dear friend. Once there was a hardcore Hindu organization, they have planned to do bomb blast. They have planned to attack mosque. They were dressed up like Sikhs because there were tension between Muslims and Sikhs because Sikh girl got married with Muslim, so they want to take advantage. There are many cases, my dear friend, known that Hindus have attacked in the form of Muslims dressed up with caps and beard. On 18 September 2006, 4 bomb blasts in Mumbai, 35 Muslims killed, greater than hundreds injured. Mainly media is controlled by politicians. They can convert black into white, white into black, hero into villain, villain into hero. Still we have faith on judiciary system, my dear friend. If politicians get hold on judiciary system, then only God can save this country. Cause of terrorism is injustice. Stop injustice. Politicians should be honest. Innocent Indians should not be investigated by politicians. Police should be honest. People should not take law in hand. According to our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, he said, if India has to improve, it should be ruled by a dictator as honest and as upright like Hazrat Umar Raziallahu Ta'ala anhu. Like Hazrat Umar Raziallahu Ta'ala anhu. He gave justice. He don't see whether it is a Muslim or non-Muslim. Therefore, he got title of Al Farooq to differentiate truth from falsehood. Hazrat Umar Raziallahu Ta'ala anhu. Allah says in Quran chapter number 17 verse number 81 in Surah Isra, when truth is heard against falsehood, falsehood perishes. For falsehood, it is by its nature born to perish. I would like to end with quotation of Dr. Adam Carson, who said, the people who worry that one day the nuclear weaponry will fall in the hands of Arab, they fail to realize that Islamic bomb had already been dropped when Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. Wa khudawana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. According to William says in one of the articles, Kashmiris are peace-loving people. So what has forced them to fight? And he says the democracy that is false and it is manipulated. One of my friend, thank you very much. One of my friend was saying one day that Dr. Nabiul, how can you prove that 9/11 was inside job? I replied him that 75 professor of USA, they believe that 9/11 was inside job. Not according to me, 75 professor of USA. Article that came in Times of India was that 75 professor and scientists of USA, they believe and said that there was some politicians in White House who had engineered the destruction of building. The reason was so that they can have control on oil-rich countries. Professor Steve Jones says, we can't believe that hijackers and one man in cave of Afghanistan had done such a professional job. And we don't believe in theory of government. He further goes and says, we professor and scientists, we believe that steel beam of Twin Tower couldn't have melted at that temperature. At jet fuel was there. There was systemic bomb explosions, otherwise building can't come down like it had come down. Many books are written against it. People who saw plane, it didn't look like passenger plane. It was like military plane. The people were saying that the way it took the turn, it was impossible for passenger plane to take turn like this. Many buildings in New York fired for many hours, but didn't come down like this. It was first building in history that came down like this. There was a systemic bomb blast, and the people who went for rescue, they were thinking that someone above is pressing the bomb buttons. Bomb, 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 bomb. But the government gives proof that they have phone call record of person who had been hijacked, and phone call was, imagine, the phone call was, Mom, this is Mock Bangham. Mom, this is Mock Bangham. Can you hear me? We are being hijacked. Imagine Mock Bangham with surname. He should say, Mom, I am Mock. Not with surname. Imagine when you talk with the mom, you use surname. Can mobile phone work at 30,000 feet? At 4,000 feet, the chances is 4%. 4%, my dear friend. At 8,000 feet, the chances are 0.1%. At 32,000 feet, the chances of mobile working is, my dear friend, 0.0006%. Today USA is spending millions of dollars to reach mobile at that height. But imagine in 2001 they did it. Imagine in 2001 they did it. There are many documentaries for this. Few months later, Osama bin Laden gave interview that I am Muslim, I will not lie, killing innocent people, children is haram, I condemn this act. This was statement of Osama bin Laden. I don't know it was right or wrong, but this statement was from Osama bin Laden. But their native was to attack on oil-rich country Iraq and then Iran. And there are many other reasons that attack was done by George Bush himself to have control on oil-rich Muslim countries. So that's why I call the terrorist number one George Bush. He is the terrorist number one. According to William says in one of the articles, Kashmiris are peace-loving people. So what has forced them to fight? And he says the democracy that is false and it is manipulated. One of my friend, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. One of my friend was saying one day that Dr. Nabiul, how can you prove that 9/11 was inside job? I replied him that 75 professor of USA, they believe that 9/11 was inside job. Not according to me, 75 professor of USA. Article that came in Times of India was that 75 professor and scientist of USA